What's up everyone, this is David and welcome back to Gem Mint MTG, where we talk about all things related to graded Magic the Gathering cards. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about finding cards that fit your budget. I think one of the most intimidating things about graded Magic cards is the prices that people pay for some high-end cards. I want to show you that no matter what your budget is, you can find something in the graded world. So I'm going to show you cards that I've purchased from $50 all the way to $1,500 and everything in between. And I'm going to show you that no matter what your budget is, there's something out there in the graded world for you. I'm also going to show examples of cards on the market right now that are available in those price ranges that I think are a good deal. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Let's get into it. So this first category that we're going to go over is cards that I got around 50 bucks. So I think that cards like this are a great way to get into graded cards. Your initial investment is not too high, and there's a lot to choose from. There's actually a lot available at that price point, and different things will appeal to different collectors. And these are just a couple of cards in that price range that appealed to me that I've picked up relatively recently. First one here is Disenchant from Beta, and Nyx Lotus from Theros Beyond Death. This is a pretty new card, 2020. And the Beta Disenchant, obviously 1993. The Beta Disenchant, the reason that I got it is it's a very iconic card. It's been around since Alpha. Everybody knows what Disenchant is, and it's Beta, so finding it in really good condition is really difficult. And I think at that point in time I got a pretty good deal, because cards like this, just even common cards in Beta, are starting to get pretty expensive, and that's even cards that are in lightly and moderately played condition. So if you can start locking in Beta or Alpha cards in BGS 8, 9 condition, I think it's a great investment. The cards are getting expensive. They're so rare to find in good condition. And everybody has different commons and uncommons that they like, and there's actually a lot to choose from. You can look around and find quite a bit, especially of Beta. Alpha's getting a little more hard to find in that price point, but Beta cards you can still find low price graded Beta cards, and that's something that I'm definitely keeping an eye on and buying a little bit more of. This here is Nyx Lotus. This is much different than the last card that we just talked about, the Nyx Lotus. This is a newer card made in 2020. This is the extended art foil version of this card, and this is also the first printing of this card. So like I talked about in the last video, I like to get original versions of cards, even newer cards. I think that this was a really fun card to play with. I actually use this card in a few different commander decks. And I love the artwork. It's got a really nice. It just came out really well. It just came out really well. The look of this card, and the fact that it is a type of Lotus, I like that too. I like Moxen and Lotus cards too. I think it's just a neat card in absolutely perfect condition. And for the price that I paid on this one, I got a pretty good deal on this. I only had to pay about 55 or 60 bucks for this card with the shipping, and I think I got a great deal. I mean, just the price of the raw card plus the grading fee now would be more than I paid for this card. So I felt like it was a good buy. It's a cool card, and I like the look of it. So that's two different options of two different types of cards that you can go after. There's a lot of old school cards, iconic cards from those Magic's original sets, Alpha, Beta, Unlimited. You can go after those. Or if you have pet cards from newer sets and you want to get the nicest version of that card, extended art, foil, showcase, whatever your thing is, you can pick up cards like this. And I like I said in my last video, I like a lot of diversity in my collection, and this just shows what you can get for just around 50 bucks or so on the market for graded cards. So this next category that we're going to talk about are cards in the $100 to $200 range. So these are cards that are a little bit more expensive, but I try to think about it like, these are about the price of a booster box or a couple of pre-constructed decks. Something like that, where you might be used to spending about that much money on a Magic product. I got all the cards here for that price range, between $100 and $200. I'm going to lay them out here. It's Time Spiral, PSA 9. Sol Ring, mint 9. So both of these are PSA graded as 9 mint. This is Time Spiral from Urza's Saga and Sol Ring from Unlimited. So these are really iconic cards as well. Time Spiral is obviously a reserved list card, so this is a card that I'm very bullish on. I started picking these up years ago because it's just such a powerful card and it has such iconic artwork, and it's just, I love the set Urza's Saga. That was a big time for me in Magic. I was buying a lot of packs and playing with my friends at that time, and I love the set, and I love that the set has reserved list cards. So stuff from the Urza's block that you can find in really fantastic condition, in your 8-9 graded range, I think are great pickups, especially for those iconic reserved list cards, especially the popular ones that are popular in Commander. I think those are great pickups. And Sol Ring, I got this one for about, I think between 120 and 140. I don't remember exactly how much I paid for this, but it wasn't too much, over $100. And Sol Ring is it's such a staple card in the Commander format, and unlimited versions of Sol Ring have been going up. A lot of versions of Sol Ring have been going up because people want, really nice versions of cards for their Commander decks, and unlimited Sol Ring is a great example of that. And it's the kind of card, you look at it, everybody knows what Sol Ring is, and the unlimited with the mono artifact and the text, the different way that they did the text, it's an awesome card. And I think cards like this are another great way to get into graded Magic. The prices on these cards are not that much different than buying a booster box or a collector booster box, especially. You can get lots of cards in that price range. So, these cards were not purchased that long ago, and they were purchased in that price range. Obviously, the prices on some of these have gone up quite a bit, the Time Spiral especially. But everything is relative, and I assure you, if you search around, you can find tons of reserved list cards from the Urza's block in the $100 to $200 price range. You can find unlimited cards that are iconic staples in the 100 to 200 range, and depending on what you like to collect, you can find a lot of stuff that you'll really like, and I certainly have in this price range. So these cards here are going to be a little more expensive. These are cards that I would put in the $300 to $500 range, so a little bit more expensive. But if that's your budget, there's a lot of things that you can get in that price point. So I'll put a few cards out here that I would value in that price range. This is a Unlimited Brain Geyser. This is a 9 quad plus. It has 10 corners, 9.5 on the surface, and the other two subgrades are 9, so that makes it a 9 quad plus. This is a Grim Monolith from Urza's Legacy. This is graded as a mint 9, and this is an Aether Vial from 2016, the Kaladesh Inventions. Guys know how I feel about those. I really like those cards. This one is a 9, and also 9 quad plus. So this Brain Geyser here, this is the unlimited version of this card. This is a reserved list card. I really love the artwork on this one. It's very iconic. I remember using this card back in the day. This was a very powerful spell, being able to draw X cards. And it's a reserved list card from Unlimited. You've seen the prices on those just creep up and up as people realize how rare they are to find in good condition. And I think the prices on these right now are pretty attractive. I think that they have a lot of potential to continue going up. For the Grim Monolith, like I talked about in the last clip, I am very bullish on the Urza's block. I think the cards in it, they really raise the power level of Magic, and you see that in cards like Grim Monolith. I mean, this is a very powerful card that's still used in different formats. And this one is a mint 9 graded by PSA, and I think finding something like this in that $300 to $500 range is a great buy. That's what I picked this up for not too long ago, and I feel like it was a good deal. I think cards like this I'm very, very bullish on. And the Aether Vial, you know, it's not a reserve list card, it's not an old card, but like I talked about in the last video, which if you haven't checked it out yet, please do. I really like the Kaladesh Invention Masterpieces. I think that they have just a really unique style that has not been replicated, and I don't think that it ever will. It's not reserve list, it's not that old, but it's just, the artwork is absolutely stunning, and they are pretty rare. You know, there's not a ton of these on the market because a lot of people, this is a player's card. This is a card that gets used a lot in different formats, and in Commander, in all kinds of different you know, legacy decks and things like that. Modern decks, a very popular modern card, and I see a really good future for cards like this, and the prices on these are not too high. There are a lot of Kaladesh Inventions in that $200, $300, $400, $500 price range that are graded in great condition, and you can pick them up. So depending on what you're into as a collector, there's really something for everybody in this price range, and in each of the other price ranges that we're going over today. There's a lot to choose from depending on what it is you like. So I think these cards here are a good representation of stuff that you can find in that around $300 to $500 price range. So these next two cards, these are more expensive items. These are going to be in the $1,000 price range. So if that is in your budget, these are two examples of cards that I would value in that price range. These are both from Revised. This is the Underground Sea and Wheel of Fortune. This is BGS 8.5. Looks really nice. And this is a PSA 10 Gem Mint Wheel of Fortune. Now, both of these are reserve list cards from the Revised edition. I think Revised was undervalued for a long time, and we're starting to see now Revised get a lot more appreciated, but I still think there's a lot of opportunity to find these cards in good grade and hang on to them for a while and let the price continue to appreciate. You know, for a long time, these cards were very undervalued, and I think that even though they've come up quite a bit, you know, we've kind of seen a bit of a cooling off recently, and I think that's good, and I think that's healthy, and I think it gives you an opportunity to pick things up at a more attractive price point. And cards like this, you know, these are never getting reprinted. These are cards that are used in different formats. They have iconic artwork. They're from that, you know, ABU art era. I'm very bullish on cards like this, and I think that when you pick up a slab copy in a high grade of an iconic reserve list card, I think it's a really safe bet. And it gives you, I think one of the things that I like most about grading is if you want to, you know, whatever you want to call it, invest in Magic the Gathering cards. Grading allows you to do that and not have your money in so many different places, just physically as well as, how would you say that? You know, if you wanted to get Wheel of Fortune from Revised, you think you like the card, you're bullish on the card, you think it's going to go up. What would you rather have? Would you rather have 3 different copies that you have to, you know, worry about selling and keeping in good condition, or would you like to take that and put it into one absolutely pristine slabbed example of that? So for myself personally, one of the things that I like about grading, like I said, is that it allows you to invest more and have a smaller footprint overall in your collection from a storage and shipping and selling standpoint. Would you rather have a 2 or 3 copies of Wheel of Fortune in lightly played or moderately played condition? If you're bullish on the card, you could take the cost of 2 or 3 of those and get a slab gem mint copy of that card. It gives you less that you have to worry about from storage and shipping. You have one card, it's encapsulated, it's authenticated, the condition is verified, and it's a very attractive card. And when you go to market, if you decide that you want to sell that card, this is a very attractive card. Selling multiple copies of cards is, it's one of those things that you don't really think about until you have to do it. And for anyone who's sold a high volume of for anyone who's sold magic cards, it's a process. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort to pack and to ship and to list and deal with issues of condition and authentication and things like that. And this just it eliminates all of it, and it gives you more of a safe bet from a lot of different perspectives. And cards like Underground Sea, kind of the same thing. There's always such a great market for dual lands, and dual lands in high grade I think are just always going to be very collectible. And for certain cards and for certain collectors, having a 9 or 9.5 is great, or a PSA 10 is great. But for a lot of people, a lot of collectors, myself personally, there's a lot of cards that I will still pick up in the 8 to 8.5 range. It's a near mint card, and if you're collecting certain cards and you just want a near mint copy that's been authenticated, you could pick up a card like this in that price range. And for anyone who wants to collect the dual lands, for example, this would be a great card for them to pick up. So I really think that cards in this price range give you, as a collector or as an investor or a seller, an opportunity to park a lot more money and have a smaller footprint in your collection overall. So I think these cards were great pickups for me. I'm really happy with both purchases in that price range, and I think it's a good way to get into some of the higher end graded collecting. Okay, so this last card that we're going to go over today, this is one that's in the higher price point, from about $1,500 to $2,000. This is an unlimited time vault, graded Mint 9 PSA. This is from Unlimited, and this, I think, is a great example of a card that you can pick up in that $1,500 to $2,000 price range. I've actually seen a few of these go recently in that price point, some less for lower condition, some higher for higher grade cards. But I think this is another example. If your budget is such that you can afford a card like this, or just a Magic investment in general, I think that this is a great place to put your money. You think about it, what would you rather have? Would you rather have 4 or 5 collector booster boxes that are just going to be chock full of stuff that 90% of it is just going to sit in a cardboard box somewhere, and you might have some stuff of value in those? Or would you rather take that money and invest it in an iconic reserved list power card that's never going to get reprinted, that has iconic artwork and a high grade? For myself personally, it's a more attractive place to put your money. I really don't crack packs like that too much anymore. And I think for me personally, it's, if I want to spend that much on my collection, I'd rather put it into a high-end card that's been authenticated, whose condition has been verified, and that is something iconic that I personally enjoy collecting, rather than just having, you know, boxes and boxes of cards, or multiple copies of cards that I'm going to have to worry about storing them, and if I ever want to sell them, it's a lot more to deal with listing wise, you know, packing and shipping and all that stuff, you know. And if you're fortunate enough to be able to put that much into your collection, I think cards like this are a great pickup. There's a lot of stuff in the ABU, you know, Arabian Nights, Legends, Antiquities. There's a lot of, you know, super power cards that you can pick up in that price range that are nice slab copies in fantastic condition. And I think if you're a collector of vintage cards or high-end cards, and you know, you put that kind of money into your collection, I think things like this are a great way to get into graded cards. So that's it. That's all the cards that I wanted to talk about today. And the whole point of doing this was to show you that no matter who you are, whatever your budget is, there's something for every collector in the graded world. Whether you have $50 to spend on a card, or you have $2,000 to spend on a card, or anything in between, whatever your budget is, you can find something that will appeal to you. I assure you, there's a lot on the market to choose from at all these different price points. I really encourage you to go and check out what's available on the market. There's quite a bit, and I think that there's something for every collector and in every budget. And I think the cards that we went over today really showcase that. Whether you're into vintage cards or newer cards, you like reserve list cards, or if you're a high-end collector, you know, there's really something for everybody. So thanks for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I will keep doing videos like this, similar topics like this in the graded card world. I'd like to go over the cards that I have in my next BGS submission that I talked about in the last video. I'd like to go over the cards that are in that submission and why I submitted them. And then also, like I said, there's other videos that I'd like to do on some of the more vintage and higher end cards that I have, as well as some of the lower costs or some of the newer cards that I have as well. So stay tuned. There'll be more to come. Thanks everybody. Have a great one.